Welcome back to Business Next. I'm going to wrap up my discussion with Paul Artale, a motivational speaker and trainer based here in mid-Michigan. We've been talking about a lot of great topics designed to help you be a better boss, help make sure that your employees are content and productive. So, Paul, here in this final segment, let's talk about the role of, well, really two factions of community involvement for both the employer and for the employees. We have a number of small businesses who try to encourage or incentivize their small businesses to be involved in the community. What are some of the benefits to the small business of encouraging that kind of thing?
I think there's many benefits. I think the biggest one is it creates an extra dimension to the employee's life and to the business's life, depending how involved the business wants to be in those community interactions. But for the employee, it's sending a message that your life is not just work. There are other things, and we want you to enrich your life and the community by doing these types of organizations. I know some businesses will pay for dues and membership or for to go to conferences, and I think that's a great statement. I think depending on the organization, it also sends a message that the business cares about the community, and I think those are two really important aspects, especially in today's current climate.
Based on your studies and experience, Paul, do you think that young people just entering the workforce now out of high school or college or training school put more emphasis on what a company is doing with the community, more so perhaps than previous generations?
I would say yes. I think it depends on the industry, to be honest, but I think with the internet and social media being what it is, it's a lot easier to follow companies and understand who they are and what they do, and if something happened in the headlines, good or bad, it's a lot easier to get that access to that information. I also think the current generation is overall more involved in a lot of things because it's so competitive to get into college or get a job out of college that these extracurriculars, these internships are playing into job decisions. And because of that, these students have had to go out and intern and get more experience, and that's given them exposure to both businesses and community organizations.
Well, we're touching on that theme again of finding ways for small employers to create a good work environment that keeps their current employees, that attracts good, productive employees who are going to come in and help the business grow. And this is just one part of it. Again, doesn't have to, I wouldn't think, involve a lot of monetary expense, but it's more of a mindset to build the reputation of your company as one that's involved in the community and offers the employees a chance to be involved.
That's correct. And again, it's sending that message. An offshoot benefit for a company might be that's a good place to recruit talent. I mean, a lot of these community organizations, no matter what their purpose is, whether it's civic involvement or the dog club, people from all sorts of backgrounds and talents are in these organizations, and at some point you need someone to help you, maybe on a subcontract basis, or you need an employee to fill a spot. It's a great networking tool. It's not meant to be in a lot of ways, but that's definitely a really positive byproduct of it.
So, Paul, if I'm a small employer listening to this and I think to myself, Paul makes a good case, I need to get my company more involved in the community, get my employees more involved. Where do you start? How do you sort of evaluate what kind of opportunities you should take a look at?
It's a great question. I think that depends on the type of company you are. I mean, there's a lot of different types of community organizations. There's, the Rotary and the Kiwanis and those types of orgs that are great, do a lot of great things in the community. Google's your friend. I would Google what is out there, and depending on your company, maybe what charitable efforts you give, that there might be organizations linked to some of the charities you might donate to, or things in your industry. I know sometimes there's specific organizations based on industries. Just look at it, see what's the best fit, or honestly, like we talked about in the other segment, ask your employees. Half of them are probably already members of something or know someone who is, and they'll have the ideas, and if they're energized about a community organization, I would just go with it, because like we talked about, happy employee equals employee who's going to stay longer and enjoy your company.
I would think that employees respond to the example set by the business owner. So it's important, if you're the business owner, to be personally involved in your community in some fashion, because that spills over and your employees see the benefits of that.
I agree. You have to walk your talk. And if you're going to, as an employer, promote involvement in community organizations, then you have to support that in every way, whether you are physically involved in it or even allowing employees time to take time off. We talked about conferences or whatever, but accommodate them to achieve those tasks. It's one thing. It's not a good idea to say, hey, you should join this community org, and then, you got to be here every lunch, and you can't go to that lunchtime meeting. Well, that becomes pointless, and it becomes a little hypocritical. So if you're going to support it, walk your talk, and you'll have great results.
What are some of the ways that you've been involved in the community that you have especially enjoyed?
Recently I've been a member of a Toastmasters group, and so that's definitely focused on more personal development. But I've met a lot of really great people through that. I'm a member of the Knights of Columbus, and I do some charitable work with them. I'm looking at doing some things with some youth. I used to be a college football coach, so I enjoy doing some physical things when I can. And my graduate assistantship at Michigan State is with the Greek community, and one of the things I oversee is Greek Week, and Greek Week raises a lot of money and a lot of hours for service every year. We raised over $250,000 for Relay for Life for cancer research last year, plus thousands of hours and bags of blood that we give. So I'm involved in community involvement. That's what energizes me and makes things worthwhile.
Paul, how can people find out more about your motivational speaking and your writing?
Two ways. Two websites I'll give you. The first is my own, my hub website. It's www.paulartale, spelled PAULARTALE.com. And the other, if you're interested in work-life balance, I have a blog. It's work-life leadership, all one word, .blogspot.com.
Paul, thanks so much for joining us today on Business Next.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
You are listening to Business Next, a part of the Michigan Business Network.